you guys to view after the fact in case there's anything you want to go back to. You'll have that opportunity to do that as well. All right. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So first of all, you're here to learn about unlocking the superpowers of Lumio by Smart. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, I thought I was here about Smart Learning Suite Online. So if you haven't heard, some news is out there. We are actually changing the name of Smart Learning Suite Online, which is a bit of a mouthful, to Lumio by Smart. So nothing, none of the great things that Smart Learning Suite Online has to offer are going away. In fact, we only have new and better and more exciting things coming live this summer and into the new school year. But now we have sort of an easier term to use with our students. I really love this. It's all about illuminating learning, flicking that light bulb for our students. So I think it's going to be a really exciting time. But I did want to introduce you really quickly to this new word that you'll start hearing, Lumio by Smart, rather than Smart Learning Suite Online. You'll hear me use that word. I'm practicing all the time, making sure I'm using this new term. It will really change for real around ISTE, so June 26th, I think, somewhere right around there. Really quickly, I'm going to show a quick 1-minute video to kind of just tell you a little bit more about this new makeover.
Hey teachers, we're getting a makeover. Smart Learning Suite Online is the heart of hundreds of thousands of classrooms worldwide, helping students engage, learn actively, and collaborate wherever they are. But we know the name is kind of a mouthful. So starting June 26th, Smart Learning Suite Online will have a bright new name, Lumio by Smart. The little firefly in the logo represents the luminescence, the spark, and the aha light bulb moments the software is designed to enable in your classroom. All of the features and functionality you know and love are staying exactly the same. Your sign-in URLs, your library of lessons, and all your great content and tools. All of these will remain exactly as they are. The only change to Smart Learning Suite Online will be its name and logo. There is also no change to your software subscription. The Smart Learning Suite will still include Smart Notebook and our great online software, which will now be called Lumio. We hope you're as excited about Lumio's new name and look as we are. Thanks for choosing Lumio for student engagement everywhere.
That was just a quick little video to let you guys know that we are going to have this new name change and to be on the lookout. I'll kind of point out different places you'll see the name change after that June 26th date. But like she said in the video, and like I said before that, you can expect all of the same great tools and many more exciting updates coming soon. And if you have not been playing with Smart Learning Suite Online, or Lumio as we now call it, recently, there have been some really exciting updates in the last few weeks as well that you'll get introduced to today also. So let's go ahead and get started. Before I go too far, I wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name's Casey Germadnik, and I am the North American Communities Manager for Smart Learning Suite, for Smart Technologies. And I'm really excited to be with you guys today. I have worked with Lubbock ISD for since I came on 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago. You guys have a great technology team to support you guys, and I love working with them. And I'm so happy to support you guys today and moving forward. While I work for Smart now, I am from the classroom, so I have 20 plus years in education. I did a wide variety of things. I was a gifted and talented specialist. Most recently, I taught K through 5 gifted and talented for 11 years before starting this part of my education journey. And then I was a general education teacher. I popped around to many different grade levels at the elementary level. So elementary is where my heart is, and I'm really excited to support you guys today and work with you. One of the things I want you to understand is that I am here to support you now and beyond today. So Beth will add my email address now, and she will add it again. We'll be sharing some resources at the end of today so that you can reach out to me with any questions that you have. If you need to pop on a Zoom or a Google Meet to talk through some some issues that you're having, or if you want to brainstorm ideas or anything along those lines, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's my goal, is to support you guys ongoing. And the other thing I hope that you guys will do is I hope you will connect with me on Twitter. If you are on Twitter, you can connect with me at KCG316. That is my personal Twitter. So it's where I can follow all amazing educators like you guys and learn from you, and learn about the great things that you're doing. Hey, how are you? Good to see you, Carrie. I was wondering if you'd pop by today.
Yes, of course. We're so excited to have you. Y'all are in for such a treat. Casey is amazing. Oh, we're so excited.
Don't tell me too strongly, Carrie. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Carrie. It's good to see you. So I'm really excited to support you guys. Looking forward to working with you now and in the future. So I have with me also Beth Galanti. She is going to be moderating for us. So Beth, if you want to tell them a little bit about you, she'll be manning the chat, answering your questions, pausing me if I'm going too fast, or if there's things we need to discuss along the way.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name's Beth. I'm going to be handling the chat. I'm a professional development specialist here at SMART. And so my background is as an elementary teacher and interventionist and instructional coach. So I'm going to be doing my best to help you with your questions and your ideas in the chat. And let me know if you need me to stop Casey and ask her anything. And thanks for having me today.
So I just had a thought as Carrie jumped over and said hello to us. I just had a thought that I would really love to know where you guys are on your journey in using Smart Learning Suite Online, aka now Lumio, because that really helps me help you guys as we're talking today. I don't want to spend a lot of time on things that maybe that you've been using for a long time. I'd rather really dive into what you guys need. So I did not plan this ahead of time, but that's okay, because Lumio offers me the opportunity to do some on-the-fly check-ins with my students, and you guys are going to be my students right now. So we're going to start with you guys and the student experience. So you're going to learn the power of Lumio through the eyes of a student, so by being my student. Then you're going to jump into the teacher experience and see, what does the teacher flow look and feel like, and how do I use this tool to create active learning experiences for my students? And then you're going to have some time to really get into the building process. We have an assignment that you can do in your hour after we're done with the training this afternoon. So I'm going to start by getting you guys connected to my class. So what I'm going to do is, on my left side as a teacher, I have this little people icon, and I can click that out. And in the top left corner, I see an arrow where I can pop out directions for you, my students, to connect with me through a web browser. I'm going to do the same thing as you guys so that you can see it just in case, maybe. There we go. I'm going to do an incognito tab so I can do a side by side. You're going to join me as a guest. And Beth will put my information in the chat, but I'm going to go to hellosmart.com. That's where you guys are going to go to. Ordinarily, we would have our students we would want them to sign in with their Google credentials, but we're going to just join as a guest, because you're really teachers. You're not going to stay in my class beyond today. So I'm going to choose join as guest. My class ID is 11311, so you'll enter that class ID. You'll enter your name, and then you'll join me as a guest. So this is the way that we would want our students to join us as well. If we want to do any synchronous learning with our students, so if there's anything you're going to want to do whole class or whole group, or where you're really the leader for whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, you want your students to join you by going to hellosmart.com, because that allows you to have some control over the pacing of the lesson. We also have the opportunity to share our lessons with a student link where they can work completely independently. So think if you had a center you wanted your students to complete, we could share a link to the lesson and they could do it without our support or without us having to lead. So we'll look at both ways. But if you want your students, if you want to do any direct instruction, if you want to have pacing control at all, you're going to want your students to go to hellosmart.com like I'm having you guys do today. So you will see right now, I have the same thing side by side. My left side with all of these extra tools, that's my teacher side. My right side, you'll notice that you guys see some 3 horizontal white lines, a black or grayish blank toolbar, and then some grayed out arrows. Right now, as a student, you are following my direction. So if I move pages, you guys move pages as well. Through these same people that I had you join, get the directions to join, I also can switch between teacher and student pacing as well there. All right, so as I mentioned, I really want to get a feel for how many of you guys have been using Lumio or Smart Learning Suite Online, and how many of you guys are kind of new to it, or you're kind of somewhere in between. So I didn't plan this ahead of time, but as a teacher, in the left side of my toolbar, I have a plus button. That plus button allows me to add a whiteboard space instantly. So think about when I was teaching in the elementary classroom, I had those portable small mini whiteboards that I could pass out, and the expo markers and old socks for erasers, all of those things. I can do a digital whiteboard with just a click of a button. So I can click as a teacher this little plus sign on my left side when I'm delivering a lesson, and I can click whiteboard. And just like that, now you see a blank space in front of you. Currently, I, as a teacher, can write on here, and you can see what I'm writing, but you don't have any tools to contribute. Now, I can always change that, and I will be doing that in just a moment. But I'm going to set up what I want to know from you guys today. So I want to know if you are an expert. So you've been using this tool for a while. You feel pretty confident using Smart Learning Suite Online or Lumio. Or whether you are just on your journey, you're on your way. On my way. Oops, let's do blue instead of red there. On my way. Or whether you are, oops, a newbie. So I'm going to change this one to red. So as a teacher, I can add an instant whiteboard space. I can add text to that whiteboard space if I want, or I could even use my pen tool to annotate, like so. I'll go ahead and do that in real time. So if I wanted to divide these sections up, I could do that. And what's neat is I can also convert this page on the fly to make it a handout where each of you have your own copy, or a collaborative workspace where we work in the same space together. So I'm going to add a black line across the top too, kind of separate it, make a little chart. So by clicking the same people that I clicked on to get directions on how to join and to change my teacher pacing, when I click those people, I also get 2 buttons below my whiteboard where I can choose to make this a handout for individual students, or a collaborative workspace where I put you guys into teams. I'm going to make it a collaborative workspace. Okay, so I can choose how many teams I want, or I can put everyone on the same team. Now we have 53 people on here, but I'm going to be brave and put us all on the same team anyway. So I'm going to put everyone on the same team. Now, as a student, you're going to now see that you have some tools. So you can use the text tool. So if I want to say that I am an expert, I'm going to click the text tool and type anywhere on my screen, and I can type my name. Or you can see someone added a check mark that they just deleted. A check mark works great too. So if I wanted to add a check mark instead of a text, look, we have someone over here that did that. Notice that I can click on the check mark And I can click the down arrow and I can see that Kaylee says she's a newbie to this. She's a new user, and that's okay. Okay, so looks like we have some experts. It looks like we have quite a few that feel like they're sort of on their journey. And then we have some in our newbie range as well. You can see all of this happening in real time, which is great. And again, I can click and you can click on anyone's responses and see that Christy added this red check mark. She's a newbie. I can see Melody is a newbie over here. So we can see in real time by clicking who's contributing what content. So Beth, any questions before I jump into our student experience?
No, the chat is pretty clear. We had a couple of people who were typing their answer into the chat on their way, and now they're able to do it in the group workspace. So great.
Awesome. Yeah, you can do it both places, right? So this group workspace, I was able to do really quickly right in front of you. So I really love that I have that on the fly ability to add content, add pieces for my students to check in and reflect. And this can be as simple or as complex as we need it to be, right? I could do something really simple for my kindergartners. Maybe I want them to practice typing or writing a word that starts with a B sound, and we could work on that. Maybe I want to write in a math problem and hand it over to students and they are going to solve that. I can choose what kind of content I'm putting out there for my different students. I see a couple of people adding images as well. So we can see Kaylee added this image over here, and we can see that Ethan added the expert image over on the left. All right, so it looks like for the majority of us live in the on my way or newbie section over here. Now my new users and my expert users, Sarah and Paige and Donna and Allison, Rebecca, Miranda, I would love for you guys, as you have ideas or make connections, I'd love for you to share them in the chat. Because I think it's really great for us to learn from you guys on what you're doing successfully in your classrooms already. And there's a lot of exciting and different ways to use this tool that maybe people would not have thought of if they haven't been playing with it for a little bit of time. All right, so I want to spend just a little bit of time on the student perspective and more of our time building and learning from the teacher side of things. But I do want you guys to get a feel for what's possible on the student side, because I think it's hard to know what to build or how to use this tool if you can't imagine what your kids can do with it. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat for Beth. If you need some support, I love that. Hi, I'm new here. If you need some support, if I'm going too fast, let me know. I can only adjust if I know that I am moving at a pace that's too quick or even too slow as well for you guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you guys this. One of the things that we have, and you'll notice there's on my two sides, I have the teacher side that says student progress. And as a student, I have the word start. You guys can hit start on your own. You don't need to wait on me. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a ready-made manipulative. So this is a making words manipulative that you can add to any lesson. It's already created for you. You can customize it and use it in different ways. And I've used it in a lot of different ways myself. So if I'm going to hit start on my student side for a moment, and you'll see on this end, hopefully, here we go, that I've asked you to describe your school year using one word, and then to add a meme or an image that goes with your word. So you'll notice that the letters, all of the letters below, are infinitely cloned. So you can hand this out quickly to your students and they can do all sorts of things. Imagine they could build CVC words, they could build word family words, they could summarize something that they've learned, a characteristic of a particular character in a story that they're reading, and add some imagery to connect with that. There's lots of ways that you can use this tool, and it's up to you how you edit or revise or use it with your students. In this case, I'm having you describe your school year in one word. Now on the teacher side of things, I can actually check in and see each of my students. So I'm going to hit student progress. And when I do, notice that I can see all of my students here. I can even zoom down. You may notice that some of you guys have green check marks to indicate that you're done. So I can come click on Christy and see what she's come up with. So she came up with the word chaotic. She could also drag up these letters to build her word chaotic as well. Now, if Christy is someone who needs a little bit of a challenge, I could leave her a message as a teacher. I can give her direct feedback using these tools over here. So I could tell her, please use your word in a complete sentence. So I can leave her this message. As soon as I type it and put it out there, Christy, imagine it spelled correctly because I see my sentences, the word sentence is misspelled. She now has feedback on her page in real time. She can click edit on the top right corner and her check mark goes away. And now she can begin creating a sentence that goes with her word chaotic. So you can give real-time feedback to any of your students on a handout like we're doing now, whether it is a ready-made activity like this manipulative, or whether it is a Google slide you've imported or anything along those lines. And again, I can come in and check with each one of you guys and give you guys feedback. Hectic, that's a good one for sure, Courtney. So I can come in and check on each of you guys. And again, I can give you guys that feedback. This is awesome. Dumpster fire, crazy, but awesome. Love it. I even look at how students can then take it to the next level, right? They can differentiate for themselves also, which is really cool. So that is a ready-made activity called a manipulative. We have several that are already built for us, but one of the neat things is we do have Infinite Cloner built into Smart Learning Suite Online, so you can also create your own manipulatives as well. Beth, anything that we need to address before moving on?
We just had someone ask, where do I find this kind of template? So they're going to be excited when you show them later.
Yes, we're going to get into that very, very quickly. So moving along, I wanted to quickly show you guys another piece that we can do. So one of the other things we can do is now we can pull in a variety of content that we already have. So this particular page that you're looking at now, I created using Google Slides. I love using Google Slides for a variety of reasons. I have a bunch of Google Slides with content that I've built that I used in my classroom. I was a Google district, so I have a lot of tools that I like to use from there. But what's neat is I can now take those Google Slides or PDFs or Google Docs, and I can put them into a Smart Learning Suite or Lumio lesson like I've done here. Now, one of the things that I can't do in Google Slides is I can't add an infinitely cloned object, but here I can. So I have this blue dot that I've infinitely cloned that you guys could read each scenario, and you can drag that blue dot to show whether it's a small, medium, or big problem along the continuum. So if I think my pencil breaking over and over again is a medium problem, I can slide down and place that. Now, some of you may realize that you've been trying to move the blue dot and it's not going anywhere. This page right now is set to view only, so only the teacher can control it. But if you remember, I said that I can convert any page in real time by clicking on my little people icon on the left. So I'm going to make this a collaborative workspace. And I can also put you into small groups. So I'm going to put you guys into 9 small groups instead of everyone in the same class. Notice it automatically throws my students into groups, but I can rearrange them. So if I feel like, let's see, if I don't have my glass on, if I feel like Alyssa, Elizabeth, and Kelly should not be in the same group, I can move students around. So I can click and drag and move kids around as I feel I need to do. And then I can hit Start Workspace. And in just a moment, you're going to be put into your groups. You're first going to see who's in your group, and then it's going to open your page for you so that you can actually begin dragging and dropping your blue dot to show how you feel about each of these problems, whether it's a small, medium, or big size problem. And again, we can see, I can be in this group as well and put my dot where I think it needs to go on the continuum as well. And as a teacher or as a student, I can click to see Meredith feels like when a friend calls you a mean name in front of everyone at lunch, it's not too big. It's kind of small to medium of a problem. So we can check in on each person. So this is a Google slide and I imported it and I waited to add this blue dot until I got this slide into Smart Learning Suite Online so I could build that infinite cloner piece. And I can check in on each of my teams and see how everyone's doing as they're hard at work. So this is also great if I want my students to present. Everyone's work is right here. So if I need group 7 to come and present their work, we can click on group 7. Here they are. And again, because I'm setting up the content, if I am teaching students who are emergent readers, I can use a lot of imagery and things along those lines rather than a lot of text. If I'm teaching 5th grade, students that are ready for more text, I can keep that in mind as well. All right, moving on, I want to just highlight a couple other things really quickly so we can get into this student experience. So something else that we have available is the ability to add YouTube videos that have no ads, no suggested videos, and no commenting. So a nice, clean video. Now, in my district, where I was working, YouTube was sometimes blocked for our students, but this is a place where I could play this whole class or play it as a group where the students can see that nice, clean version, or it can also be something that can help with as homework helpers on the parent end too, because I could add a YouTube video that I know I've vetted, that has no comments or anything along those lines, and be part of a flipped classroom model or a homework assignment to help my parents. Because I know my parents don't always have the information they need, especially math, to help their kiddos kind of get what they're supposed to be doing for homework. So this is where we can kind of build in those homework helpers. Beth, anything I need to address before moving on?
We are getting some interest in how to make it.
Okay, good. All right, we're almost there, guys, and then we'll jump into that part. Okay, so something else I just want to point out is that we have the ability to create games quickly and easily. So you guys can hit start on your end. This is one example of one game. This is called a super sort. All the games are meant for us to be built in 5 minutes or less. And again, I'm choosing to use text here, but if I was teaching lower grades, kindergarten, 1st grade, maybe students that are English language learners, I can use images instead of text as well. So we can really decide what makes sense for our students. If I get something wrong, it will kick that answer back out and I have another opportunity. So our students get that instant feedback, which is really nice. And something new, many of our games now allow us to customize the background and customize the pieces of the game as well. So if you're someone who likes to really personalize things, you can do that. And then some of you might have noticed that there's this little guy in the top right corner that has a play button. We can add audio to every single page in our lesson. So if you hit that play button, you'll be able to add audio to a game, to a handout, to a workspace, anything that you've built in, even a YouTube video, I can add some audio to give them some directions of things I want them to listen to. Really key for our early writers, but also for our English language learners, our struggling readers and writers as well. And then the last thing I wanted to point out before we get into the student experience, and I'm just going to hit student progress. You can hit start if you want, but you don't need to. We've gotten the experience of a handout, but I want to show you what we have here. So I'm going to open Amanda's right quick. One of the other things that we have already created for you guys are ready-made graphic organizers. So again, you can personalize them and change these to use them lots of different ways, but the graphic organizer is built and easy to add to any lesson. Super fast and simple. So I just kind of wanted to point this out. So we have ready-made graphic organizers, ready-made manipulatives, games, and we can use our own content as well. So now let's get into the teacher side. That's where we really want to be. That's where we want to start. Where do we live? How do we do this? So we're going to get started in 5 easy steps. One of the things that I really like about Lumio is that it's meant to be a smooth experience for teachers and a quick experience. And some of our new additions really have made that even more true. And I'll kind of highlight those. But when we start, we can start with existing content, Google Slides, PDFs, PowerPoints, Google Docs. We can also just start with a YouTube video or a new page. We can enhance our lessons with instructional audio, games, and ready-made resources. And then we can engage and get real student insight through converting our pages into individual handouts or collaborative workspaces. And then to deliver our lessons, we can connect using a class code like you guys joined me today, or we can share a student link to our lessons as well. And we're going to talk about that share piece with both student links and teacher links shortly. So now it's time to become a teacher. So on your side, you should see on the left corner 3 white lines. I want you to click those 3 horizontal white lines, and I want you to leave my class. And I can also kick anyone out of my class too. So if I click those same people on the top left, I can choose edit. I can select all of you guys still here, and I can remove you in one fell swoop as well. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you guys are going to want to do is actually get into your Google Drive. So what's really cool about Smart Learning Suite for you guys is that you get to stay in your same Google ecosystem. So I'm going to pop right next door to my left side where my tab is for my Google Drive. So you want to get into your Lubbock ISD Google Drive. I'm going to give everyone a second to get there. All right, if you guys can kind of put a thumbs up when you have gotten into your Google Drive. I don't want to leave anyone behind. I'm going to take a quick look. If you are in your Google Drive, just give me a quick thumbs up. See you guys. See some of you. Thanks if you're putting them up electronically because your camera's off. That helps too. I just don't want to leave anyone behind. If you are someone who likes to sit, watch, and take notes, that's fine too. If you are a doer, let's push some buttons, do that with me as well. Now, you guys are about to have some choice here in that, and those of you that are experts and have been using this a lot, this is a chance for you to kind of go and start pushing buttons and trying some things on your own, maybe exploring some new things that have come live. If you are someone who likes to go step by step by step, follow along with me. If you are someone that's a button pusher, I tend to be a button pusher. You can push some buttons as well and just put your questions in the chat, and Beth and I will get to them. All right, so we're going to actually start in our Google Drive always, which I think is really nice. I don't have to know to go somewhere else. If you're looking at my Google Drive right now, you'll notice that I have 2 thumbnails that look very similar. Unlock the superpowers of Lumio, you see one that has the Google Slide icon and one that has the Smart Learning Suite icon. That's because I can start with the Google Slide, which I did in this case, and I can convert it to a Smart Learning Suite file, and they both are saved and live in my Google Drive, which is exciting. So I can find all of my content right here. So let's get started building. The way that we're going to do that is underneath the word Drive, you'll see that plus button with the word New. Click on that plus button, New, and we're going to do something more than Google. So we're going to click New, and we're going to click More. New, More. And then you're going to slide down till you see Smart Learning Suite. So I'll do that one more time. New, more, Smart Learning Suite. Now, just so you know, June 26th, that word Smart Learning Suite might change, or you might see a little firefly attached. I don't know what the final rendering will be, but it's same thing you're looking for is that little blue and circle, that little blue and purple circle icon. So I'm going to click Smart Learning Suite. If this is the very first time you have ever done this, you're going to be taken to a sign-in page, and you should see student sign in the top right. And in the bottom left, kind of small, you're going to see teacher sign in. So if you were taken to the sign in page, I want you to click teacher sign in, and you're going to sign in with your Google account information. So you're going to sign in with Google. If this is your very first time, you will maybe asked what your display name is. That's just what you want your students to call you, and it's something you can change later, so don't panic if you put in your first name or anything like that. You may be asked if you are an adult or a minor. You're gonna obviously choose adult. You may be asked what country you live in, so United States. You may be shown a little video clip. You can X out of that video clip. But your goal is to land on a page that looks similar to mine, where you see a green, blue, and gray button across the top. When you see this, if you can give us a thumbs up, that will help me, whether you do it in person because you're on camera or whether you use the thumbs up in Zoom, just let me know that you're ready. Thanks, guys. Looks like we're still waiting on a couple people. Thanks for your thumbs up, guys. Okay, while we're waiting for everyone else to get here, I'm going to quickly talk about a couple of things, take you on a quick field trip. So across the top is your banner. That's where you see what you put as your display name. Mine is Getting Smarter. Yours might be Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, what have you. You can always change that. Underneath is your class ID. This ID never changes. It's always the same. Even if you teach multiple class periods of the same content area. So if you're working with different groups of students, your class ID still stays the same because you choose what lessons to open or share with students. In the top right corner, you'll see a little bubble, a circle bubble. It might have your initials or a picture like mine does. And this has a variety of different things: what's new, welcome, give feedback, request a feature, all the fun things. Underneath there, you'll see an edit class, and that's if you wanted to change your display name or reset your class ID or anything along those lines. Now let's take a look at where we're going to spend most of our time today. So we have 3 buttons going across the top. The gray training button is super helpful, guys. That button has access to free webinars, 30-minute webinars you can participate in. If you slide down further, you'll see when you click on this, I'm not going to open it for right now, you'll see 1-minute videos to help you. This is a great place to get help along the way. If you're like, I forgot how Casey said to share a student link, you'll hit the training button. There's a video, a 1-minute video that will show you how to do that. Next to our training button in the middle is our blue button, Explore Resources. I want everyone to click that button. So we have some ready-made content that you guys can pull in and use with your lessons at any time. We can add any lesson in here to our library. There are a variety of different categories, different collections. So there's manipulatives, classroom management things, all sorts of things. Today, all of us together are going to click on that SEL check-in, because we know how important it is to get feedback from our students in real time about how they're feeling about their learning, how they're feeling about their day. So I want everyone to click on SEL check-ins right under featured. When you do that, you'll always see a preview of the lesson, and this is a fully interactive preview, guys. So if you want to test it out, Like I can click this little red button and drag it to the person to show how I'm feeling. You can actually test it out to see if you like it before you decide to use it. Can even test out using ink on here so you can get a full interactive preview. I want everyone to choose to save this to your library. So what it's doing right now is it's saying that it's importing to our library, and in just a moment, it's going to give me some options to either edit it or open it, or to start it, or I can dismiss all. Go ahead and hit dismiss all. And now look in the top left corner, you're going to see a house. This takes you back to your main smart library. So everyone click that house, that purple house in the top left corner. Everyone should now see the SEL check-ins inside of your library. So there's two benefits to adding that. One, we can just use it as is by itself. But the other thing is now that it's in our SEL library, and now that it's in our Lumio library, I'm going to be able to add those check-ins to every single lesson I build for students. And we're going to test that out now. All right, so we talked about the grade training button. That's a really huge one. The explore resources button has lots of great things. You guys stay on the main library, Lumio library. I didn't highlight some of these other pieces, but if you slide down, we have all sorts of things. So like if you're looking for a CVC word manipulative, here it is, or a word family, or reading, or a sight word bingo. We have all of these here that you can add to your own library and personalize and use as is. And this library, this resource library will continue to grow over time. It's in its infancy, so it's only going to get better and bigger over the next several months. So now let's talk about where we spend most of our time, where most of our time is going to be. It's going to be in that green button. But Beth, before we jump in the green button, are there any questions?
No, I think everyone was able to find the Explore resources and the SEL check-ins. We did have a question just come in about how those Explore resources, the resource library and that Explore resource button, how they're organized. But yeah, there's a lot in there to just dig around and find, and it's all saved to your library.
So as I said, this is one of our newest features to go live, the resource library. So currently we don't have a search button. That is coming very soon. It's on an upcoming wave before the start of school. So because it didn't have a search button, we sort of just picked some categories to organize things in. The featured category, you'll normally find some like, holiday related or time sensitive topics. Like when the Mars rover landed, we had a lesson on that. Or they'll just be things that are brand new and want to kind of pull your attention to. Then we have some collections, so some things about SEL under this emotional literacy. Managed classroom could be attendance, things like that. Manipulatives could be all sorts of different types as well. And then we have STEAM, fractions, reading and writing, multiplication, sight words and phonics, and art and music. Now, with the addition of the ability to search, these categories will really change and become more robust. We'll have more content that hits more target areas rather than just these that we have loaded here. All right, so we're going to all click on our green Add Activities button. So when we click on this button, I want to highlight a couple of things. Look at the very top. If you look, you can see Add Content, and right next to it says it's going to add content into my drive into a folder called Lubbock ISD. That's because when I hit New More, that was the folder I was sitting in my drive. If I was just in my drive, it's just going to throw it in my main drive. It might throw it in your a special folder called your Smart Learning Suite folder. You decide where it lives, and you can always move things around just like you can any other content. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to point out, and we're going to do things a little bit different just based on time, but in the top left corner, we see that import resource. And again, if you're a button pusher, push the buttons, or you can follow me. That import resource button allows us to pull content like PDFs or PowerPoints that are saved on our computer. We can pull from my library. That means things that are saved in your Smart Learning Suite or your Lumio library. Or you can pull things off of your Google Drive, so Google Docs, Google Slides, PDFs that might be saved in there, anything that's in your drive. We can add YouTube videos, we can add blank pages, and then we have some activity templates that we're going to get into, and then our ready-made resources like our manipulatives and our graphic organizers. Now, for time's sake today, I'm going to start with a YouTube video. And again, you can go rogue or you can do what I'm doing. So I'm going to click on YouTube. And I'm going to do word families. So I'm just going to type word families as my search and see if I can find a video that I like. Here's one. I think I want to do the at, ug, and in word families by Jack Hartman. So I'm going to click on that and notice it has a blue rectangle around it, and I'm going to choose add. So just like that, it's going to take that YouTube video and it's going to start my lesson. I'm going to be in editing mode so I can continue to add to my content. So notice that YouTube video is on my left side, just like if you were on a Google slide or PowerPoint, you're building all of your content and you'll see it on that left side. In the bottom left corner, we always want to add to our lesson. So in the bottom left corner, notice that I have a blue bar with a plus button. When I click on that button, that same dashboard comes up. So I can import resources. I can do any of the things that I see here. I want to start with a manipulative. I'm actually going to use that making words manipulative we used earlier today, but I'm going to use it for word families this time. So in the bottom left, where we see ready-made resources, one of our buttons is manipulatives. I'm going to click on that one. There's a bunch to choose from, base 10 blocks, clocks, all sorts of things. I'm going to choose making words. And just like that, it's added that making words page to my left side. I'm looking at it so I can customize it however I want to customize it. So I might want to divide this up where my students are finding at words. So up above every page, we will see that ability to add text or images. So maybe I want to give them a picture to go with the at. I can click the mountain at the top. And on the left side, I can select an image off my computer, select a web link, or I can search for an online image. I'm going to search for a cat. So I'm giving my students a little picture clue to go with the at family. I can resize it, place it right next to that. I could do the same thing for ug and in, because those are the other two word families that I'm doing. For time's sake, I'm not going to do that. What I do want to point out, and I noticed some of you guys, when I was asking whether you guys were an expert or a newbie to Lumio, you notice that some of you could move the text around or move the lines. We can actually lock those things in place so students don't have that control. So if you click on your text or on your image, you'll always get this little drop-down menu. And one of your options is lock. This is also where you can infinitely clone something. So those drop-down menus are really, really your friend. You can infinitely clone, duplicate, or lock, and new things are coming soon to this drop-down. One other thing that you need to make a decision on is whether you want your students to be able to work on this. Right now it's set to view only, which means the teacher can move things, but the students can't. Look below the page, you'll see a blue button that says convert to activity. If you click convert to activity, you're going to get the option to make it an individual handout. Each student has their own copy. It's you standing at the copier machine making 25 copies for 21 students because you know someone's going to lose their paper, right? This, you can do it all in one fell swoop. Or you can put kids in a team. So if you want some students working in small groups to create these word families, then you can do that as well, which is really great. In this case, maybe I'm going to use this as a check-in. I want to assess my students, do a formative assessment. So I'm going to make it a handout instead of a group assignment. I can always edit or to change that. Notice as well, next to my blue bar, I have a trash can to delete the whole page. Or I also have a little microphone, a little guy that looks like he's talking where I can record sound and give directions. One other thing I want to point out is on the left side, if you look at each of your pages, they now have 3 dots in the corner, and that allows you to duplicate a page. So if you need to use a page over and over and over again, now we can. That was always frustrating. You build this really cool thing, and then you're like, oh, but I wanted to do it 3 times. Now you can. Okay. So I want to quickly move on to something else in building because of our time. If you look at that same blue bar, which I'm going to click now, we're going to add 2 additional pieces. We're going to add a game, and then I'm going to show you how to add that SEL check-in we just added to our library. So let's do a game first. So I want you to click on game-based activity. Now we're going to do a super sort, which is what we saw earlier, and this is pretty cool. So there's a lot of different games. One of the things, be thoughtful in how you can create them, and that these are games for everyone. So a lot of times when I show a preview for the fill in the blanks, my kinder and first grade teachers are like, ooh, that cannot be for my kids. That's a lot of writing. Well, obviously for most of our students, we're not going to give them this kind of text on Bandersnatch. I don't even know what this is from. Haven't read it. But what I could do with kindergarten at the beginning of the year, I could have letters, the alphabet, and have letters missing. Or I could have sentence with homonyms and have those homonyms missing. So you get to decide how you use it. Flip out was one, the first time I saw it, I was like, flashcards. But I like to use these to create choice boards. So what if I had 4 choices and kids get to choose 2 to complete? So you get to decide how to use these tools. Let's slide down to, we have word search, all sorts of fun ones, but let's do super sort today. So for super sort, I'm going to do @words and what was our other one? @words. We'll just keep it that way. I don't know if that was right or not. Now underneath is my key. So if I could write words that have that @ in them, or notice I have the mountain next to that where I can add images. So if I click that mountain, you actually can search for images using Bing Safe Search. You don't have to have these images already found and saved. If I want a cat, and maybe I want a clip art cat or a cartoon cat, I can search for that and find one that I want to use. Maybe I want to use that guy. And let's see, I need to do, maybe I want to do bat. And let me do like a bat clip art. Maybe this guy. So I can now search for and add images of things just like that, super duper fast. I'll add at least one I word. Sit. Let's see if we can find one, or that's not gonna be a good one. Let's see, sit. There we go, we'll add this one. So I can add those images
so fast now.
Easily. So fast, right? I love how fast it can be. And then I can hit next. You can do custom backgrounds. I'm not going to do that for time's sake today. I can also choose some backgrounds that already exist. We'll do space. And just like that, I've built a game for my students to do and check in. And not only that, something that's new is now your students can click on this little blue square and it will magnify the image so it zooms in so the kids can see it before they make a decision too. So that's a new feature. And you can always edit and add to it. All right, last step. In the bottom left corner, I'm going to click that blue bar again. This time, I'm going to import a resource. So I'm going to click that first button. Again, I could import something on my Google Drive, something from my computer, but this time I want to add that SEL check-in. So I'm going to click on My Library. And here the SEL check-ins are. So I can click on it and click Select. What is really exciting is it's going to let me choose which pages I want to add. So I don't have to add a whole Google slideshow. I can add one slide from a Google slideshow or one page of a PDF or one page of this SEL check-in. So let's say I want to use the emojis. I can unclick all the other ones and choose Add. And just like that, I've layered in something for my smart library with this lesson. All right, so we're down to our last 4 minutes, but I just want to point out we built a lesson in 12 minutes, less than 12 minutes. That's pretty exciting. So one of the important things to note is on the top left corner here, you'll see Untitled. And we want to make sure we give our content a name. I don't know if you've ever searched your Google Drive for Untitled. It's kind of frightening, or at least mine is. So I'm going to click on the word Untitled, and I'm just going to call this at and it word families. All of your content saves automatically. So you want to wait till it says saved past tense before doing anything. Once you have finished it, you can hit finish editing. And this is going to take you back to your main Lumio library. So in the top left corner under today, I see my lesson, the at and it word families. I can hover above to start or edit it. I can click on these 3 horizontal dots to either share a link for teachers or students, or even make a copy of my lesson if I'm teaching it to more than one group of students. And then I can delete it and edit it that way as well. But one of the things I want you guys to be aware of is this lesson is also saved in our Google Drive. So if I pop right next door into my Google Drive account, and here it is. You guys see where it says at and it wordfamilies.sls? This is it. So I actually can start it. If I want to do this lesson with my students tomorrow, I can start it right from within my Google Drive. It's ready to go. Questions? Any questions, Beth, that have come your way?
Sorry, I'm trying to respond to people one-on-one. It seems like people are super appreciative. I'm not sure if the plan is to stay and try out, but I did want to make sure they had any links if there were some that couldn't stay.
Yes, so Beth's going to add into the chat a resource link right here with everything you need, including today's assignment. I'm going to show you guys really quickly what your goal is for today. I am going to leave the Zoom open for the next 30 minutes. You do not have to stay and sit on here, but if you are doing your assignment and then have a question and want to pop back on, you can. I'm going to have it up and open so I can walk through any steps with you. If you are someone who has questions now and wants to do them before you start your assignment, you can do that too. This, you're going to get a Google slide. It's on that resource page that Beth is sharing in the chat. All of these are hyperlinked. So if you want to know how to do anything, all of these have 1-minute videos to show you exactly what to do step by step. But I'm here as well. As a bonus, guys, I really encourage you guys, when you get a lesson created, it doesn't have to be super fancy, but when you get one lesson created, I really suggest or hope that you guys will consider joining our Smart Ambassador group. You can apply and you'll have your lesson already done to share because that's part of your assignment anyhow. And this is a great place to learn from others. You do not need to be a smart expert. So if you are someone just starting for the first time today, we still want you because you're passionate about education. And that passion is what we're looking for because we can all learn from each other. So I hope that you guys will take a moment to apply for that as well. You will see on the resource library there, on the resources that Beth shares, there's also a place that you can fill in a 5-question survey. I would appreciate that if you have a chance to fill that out. Again, I'm going to stay on for the next 30 minutes so that if you guys have questions, you can pop right back in here and I will be here to answer them and walk you through those. I will stay as well if someone wants to ask those questions now. Otherwise, you should have a link to today's assignment. You'll see it highlighted in green, start and deliver a lesson in 5 and 5. So you can begin doing your assignment that you're turning in for to your district. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for spending your time. I know that was kind of fast and furious, a quick look at what's possible with Lumio. I hope that you will come to our weekly webinars that we have for free. And I hope you'll reach out to me via my email address that is also here at the top. I'm here to support you. I can jump on a Google Meet or a Zoom with you at any time to work with you further. So thank you guys. And again, I'm going to stay here for the next 30 minutes for anyone that wants to come off mute and ask a question. The rest of you guys go and enjoy building your lesson, and thanks for joining me.